Hello, everybody. I'm Dan McDermott. This is our Android Week. Welcome to you. We are broadcasting from Bentonville, Virginia. That's where I am. We have Alan Furstenberg in New York. We have Kadeas Kalut in Newport Beach, California. We have Pam Adger in Menifee, California. So we are glad for you to join us. And also, we'll be looking for your comments live as we go, and we'll be putting some of those up on the screen. This is a Hangout on Air. Normally, it's YouTube Live, so it's different. And I apologize for there being 3 or 4 different events because I was trying to do the Plus Post ads as a test to talk about it for Friday, but apparently they don't work, or at least no one at Google knows how to do that. So I'm trying to figure out how to do that. So I've updated all the events with the new thing, and I hope people figure that out and aren't angry with me. So there's that. Okay, so first up, welcome to the panel, and our first topic is for Kadeas, who is knowledgeable about this topic, which I can't remember what it was. Okay, the topic is helping you go global with more seamless Google Play payments. The links to all these topics should be in the YouTube description. If not, they will be. And when we're done, we'll update it with timecodes, so you can click right to topics if you're new. So what's the deal here with these Google Play payments, Mr. Kadeas?
Well, basically, Google Play decided to add the ridiculous PayPal ability to their Google Play purchases. Basically, it allows users to be able to pay with PayPal. Apparently, they're saying that the reason why they did it is they wanted to provide users with a frictionless payment experience. But my question is why wouldn't they engineer that into Google Wallet? Why couldn't they do that? Make that a little more frictionless as opposed to going and getting some outside payment processor.
Well, I think you know the answer to that, Kadeas.
Because we have Google Wallet, Google Wallet, Google Wallet, and Google Wallet.
Yes.
And so to me, I think they should focus more on that. But so
well,
that's.
I think part of the reason is they are doing that. I mean, they're still giving the frictionless service to those who are using Google Wallet, but not Google Wallet. What this also gives, though, I mean, it's frictionless in the sense that they've got an additional payment method. You know, so people who aren't using credit cards, who are using PayPal, now have a way to do it. It's a popular way to do it online these days.
I don't know. The problem is that for the longest time I stood behind the definitely not PayPal, the Google Wallet service, and it seems as though they're making weird decisions even on the wallet side. So it's starting to become not a service that I'm standing behind anymore. I mean, they're even making weird limits, like before you could do transactions on Google Wallet that are rather large, and now they're limiting you to $500 within 30 days. And so one of the things that made Google Wallet better than some of these other ones are now making them just like some of these other ones. So it's kind of disappointing for me in Google Wallet because I'm starting to
preface that by saying Kadeas hates PayPal with a passion.
No, I hate PayPal with a burning, fiery passion that can block out the sun. That's how bad I hate PayPal. So,
okay. So I just wanted to, so there's that.
Yeah.
So that's his unbiased, impartial journalism.
Well, now I'm starting to hate Google Wallet. Like, it's starting to become a useless service. And so the fact that they start doing this, I think this has a lot to do with Bancorp apparently being behind both PayPal and Google Wallet, which I learned over the weekend as things started shutting down for me. So I think this is more banking related than it is anything else. But some of the other features that this story talks about and adds in is that they also are allowing carrier billing in more countries, as well as being able to use the Google Play gift card. So that's definitely good for people who don't want to use Google Wallet and hate PayPal with a fiery passion. They can still bill to their account or go down to the nearest big camera if you're in Japan or whatever and pick up a Google Play card. So that's pretty good that they're doing that.
I like PayPal.
Shockingly to me though, is that they're still not offering any way to do Google Play gifting. So I can't, for example, gift somebody $5 in Google Play credits.
But no, the reason why you can't do that is because that's a Google Wallet feature that you can gift somebody a certain dollar amount to use towards whatever. So but not a lot of people know that you can do that. So yeah, that's a wallet feature.
Well, but is it a wallet feature or is it a wallet feature?
It's one of the wallet features. It's in 2 of the wallet packages of the 4 wallet packages.
Right, but is it the one that fits in here, A, and B, if it's not, I mean, it's a feature that people have been asking for forever, and the fact page for Google Play says, no, this isn't available.
Right.
So,
Do you know where that noise is coming from, Alan? I can't tell who it's coming from. It's not enough to be a green dot, but it almost sounds like, not quite like typing, but something's going on.
Just went on mute, and did you?
no idea what you're talking about, and I can barely hear you anyway.
Okay.
I think it's coming from Cadeas. It's gone now.
Is it back now?
Yep.
Okay. So yes, definitely me.
Okay, so I like PayPal. I haven't had. Cadeas had sort of an edge case issue with them, right? Because you were trying to do a bunch of money transfers or something.
No, just 2 little $30 transfers.
Oh, okay. So
Yeah, PayPal's useless. Let's not get me fired up tonight.
okay. So are we good on this, or you anyone else want to weigh in on this exciting?
Marvy, next subject.
Do you know anybody uses Google Wallet?
Do I know? A lot of people from my circles use Google Wallet, thanks to me. But now I'm starting to back away because I can't do large transactions anymore. So.
All right. So next.
Well, but Dan, don't forget, everybody that does any financial transactions whatsoever using Google Play uses Google Wallet.
You know when I'm not talking about Google Wallet, I'm talking about Google Wallet.
Well, if you're talking about Google Wallet, that's not appropriate for this show. We talk about Google Wallet on this show.
Exactly. So you got to be talking about the right Google Wallet, Dan.
Next, the Play Store now accepts PayPal in 12 countries.
Which we just discussed.
How come there's no time card? You switched to the second topic without telling me.
Because we just talked about it. It's the same topic.
Okay. Yeah. All right. Are we good on all that?
Yeah, so basically everybody who loves PayPal use PayPal, and if you love Google Wallet, use Google Wallet. Google Wallet is still a pretty okay service, but you just can't run a lot of money through it.
I pay my people. I pay two of my staffers. One's in Culpeper, Virginia. One's in North Carolina. One's a copy editor. One's a graphic designer, and that's the most convenient way to pay them because you can't rely on the U.S. Postal Service. They don't have the same bank I do, so I can't do a transfer. I don't know of a better way to pay them. I think it takes 2 or 3 days. Do you know of a better way to pay them?
Well, in the past I would have said Google Wallet, but now I'm probably going to have to go back and start saying Chase again.
I mean, I pay them with PayPal. And
yeah, I wouldn't do that.
It's very quick and easy and simple, and I haven't had a problem with it.
Yeah, I wouldn't do that.
Okay. All right, so next up, Samsung is allegedly prepping a 7-inch smartphone. This is absurd. Can you imagine? Literally this. Yo, Alan, I'm running late. I mean, can you imagine? It'd be a little, not quite as wide, but I looked, I was in the Sprint store, and I looked at the Mega, and that's an absurd phone. Now, Pam, I think my Note 2 is a little bit too big. It's almost impossible to do one-handed stuff. The Mega, I can't even imagine. Can you imagine a 7-inch freaking phone?
No. No, I can't. That's probably a little too big, but I do love my Note 3. It's perfect size for me, and I can do if I take the case off, so it's just the phone, because my case has like slots for cards and stuff like that. It's like a wallet almost. It's difficult to do things one-handed when you've got this thing swinging to the side, but if I take the case off, I can do everything one-handed, no problem. But then again, I have pretty big hands, so. But I couldn't imagine anything too much bigger.
So it's 5.7, so it'd be 1.3 inches diagonally more. Yours is 5.7, Pam. I think mine's about 5.
That's what I was going to say. You got to keep in mind that the Omega and the Note 3 are very, very close to each other in size. like you said, 5.7, and you got 6.3 on the Mega. So honestly, adding on 7 more, or not 7 more inches, but adding on just the extra little 7.7 inches, may not be so much, because that's almost the same distance between the S5 and the Note 3, and it's not that much. So I mean, if you're already carrying the Mega, that little extra isn't going to be a big deal.
Okay. I think they're just out of control. You know.
I just have trouble I just have trouble caring.
No, the Note 3 is 5.7, so it's a 1.3 inch increase.
That's
those wacky Koreans with their phones. Okay, so
wait. That's 1.3. That's
Pam.
it.
This is what it looks like. This is my Nexus 7. This is your new phone, Pam.
Look, I've said it before, I'll say it again. The fact that we keep blurring the lines between phones and tablets are a sure sign that there's something deeply, deeply broken about our concept of both.
And the truth is, well, for me, the truth is I very rarely use the phone feature on my Note 3, and if I do, I'm on speakerphone. I don't hold it up to my ear. I've always hated that. I'll stick in earphones or something to use the phone, and that's the thing. You know, my Samsung comes with these nice little earbuds that has a little microphone right here, and I can just put them in, and I can have a conference call or whatever, and my phone's sitting there, and I can still, you know, do the WebEx thing and share my screen and do the pointer. I don't have to pick up the phone. They make so many things for you to use, from the jawbone to these full headgear things for you to use to talk on the phone, that you don't even have to pick it up anymore. So it's not like this anymore. Your tablet can be sitting next to you on the seat of the car. Well, actually, you have a driver, you'd have it in your lap, but still, you know, the concept's the same.
Don't be a hater, Pam. So, okay, I can't figure. What thing do I load for the comments, Alan? Hangout Toolbox 2.0 or the comment chart? Which one works better now?
I actually use them both. Some of them, sometimes one runs better than the other, and it just varies. But so far, there are no comments I've been watching.
Well, I got a comment on the post here.
Okay, let me add your post. I didn't know that. Okay.
Wendell says Google Wallet for the win. As for 7-inch phones, no way. Nexus 5 inches is as far as I'm willing to go for a phone. You know,
considering they're going to get rid of the Nexus 5 at the end of the year in favor of the Nexus 6, I'd be careful about what you say.
I guess he's not going to upgrade.
Well, then you're just screwed.
So much. I just, you know, I have a tablet and a phone. When I'm at home, if I want to do Flipboard or that kind of stuff, if I'm working in the kitchen cooking, you know, some culinary masterpiece worthy of the Food Network, then
you use your Nexus 7 as a cutting board.
Exactly. And so I would just take my Nexus 7 and watch it on that. If I am on the can, I will use my Nexus 7 to purchase gifts for Pam. I'm part of that 25%. And if I'm out in my car or something, or, you know, pulled over, of course, or in a restaurant, and I want to do the web, then my phone's fine. It's a little too big. You know, Craig's iPhone is too small. Craig Ship, our resident troll on Google Plus Week, that's a little bit too small. But I don't know. I've had the big one, and I've had a little Motorola Photon, which was too small. You know, but this is a very subjective criteria, right? What works for, like, Pam loves her phone, and Bruce and I loved our Note 2. I think he still does, and I'm iffy on it. So, anyway, anything else on this? gigantophone.
There was nothing on this to begin with.
I just wanted to troll Samsung. Next up, Verizon flips the switch on AWS Enhanced XLTE. So this is supposedly like 2 or 3 times faster. Is it, or is it vaporware?
Not really. What this is additional bandwidth.
The 700 spectrum, right?
Yeah, it's more spectrum, which is good because they were already getting pretty congested in some areas. So all this really does is open up, is reduce the chance of congestion. Doesn't really give you that much more actual usable bandwidth, though, as I understand it.
Right.
This isn't an upgrade to LTE or anything.
Right. It's funny how they do the because they say that it'll deliver faster peak speeds. so they're trying to say that they're going to be able to do this. It's just double the bandwidth basically. That's all.
Okay. So it's more of a marketing thing. I mean, it'll have an impact, but saying it's much faster, and that's just like less.
Honestly, even if they doubled their speed, they would still be just a little shy of than AT&T speed. So it's still they still got a lot to do to catch up with AT&T's LTE. So
I thought Verizon was the fastest or better.
No, Verizon's the most reliable. Mountaintops, valley lows, they work. AT&T's the fastest. And T-Mobile's calling them out and asking them if telling them to prove it. But yeah.
And Sprint's the cheapest.
No, AT&T's the cheapest. Sprint's just out there trying to make it somehow. They're not anything anymore. They have unlimited data. That was their biggest claim to fame.
Sprint is struggling to survive, is what Sprint is.
Right.
What do you if they merge? There was an interview with that guy for the head of SoftBank, because I think Hesse is still the CEO of Sprint.
Right.
But SoftBank owns them, and so he's like the guy in charge, right? Isn't Hesse still something, president or something?
Yep.
So he thinks that he's got something. I saw an interview with him. He's real open about it. He's like, we suck. That's why he wants to buy T-Mobile. He's like, I come from, I don't know where he's from, Japan, China, or Korea, whatever he's from, SoftBank, and he's like, he comes here and it's like, this is the same phone. Why is it so slow on Sprint? And he says it sucks here. He admits it, and he's funny about it. And he wants to buy T-Mobile. He says that then they'll have the scale and.
Yeah, and the reason why that is because more than likely they'll purchase T-Mobile and then start slowly shifting the customers from CDMA to GSM, which then makes it more compatible with the Japanese SoftBank network. So roaming agreement.
Before letting them buy T-Mobile, I hope they do it because then it'll be a bigger third place player.
It would be.
They'll just screw up T-Mobile.
Yeah, that was going to happen too.
Now they'll screw up T-Mobile.
That'll happen too. Yeah, that'll happen too. So, but I mean, that's kind of what he's trying to do.
The best thing Sprint ever did was get rid of that damn walkie-talkie thing that you'd always hear at grocery stores.
No, that was the worst thing they ever did. They should have not even purchased that company, Nextel. They should have not even purchased it. They were doing really well until they did that. That's probably the biggest mistake of the company.
And Nextel was doing really well with that walkie-talkie. That's where they were making their money big time.
Well, it was very practical, like construction use. It was virtually a two-way radio.
But the issue with Nextel is that the way the devices were built, they couldn't stop the bleed over from bleeding over into emergency services, and so that's why they ended up pretty much Nextel got put in a position where the government was like, when it's time to renew, you can't renew on this frequency anymore, and so Nextel was on the verge of going down. I mean, they couldn't do it because it would cost billions of dollars to re-engineer their devices to work in the frequency range that they needed to stay within, and it would bleed back and forth is what would happen. So their thought was, okay, let's put the company up for sale. Sprint thought, hey, we'll buy it and get the customers, and then slowly migrate the customers over to CDMA. But that actually didn't work out as well because they couldn't get I think it was called QChat at the time. They couldn't get the QChat to function, which was the walkie-talkie version on CDMA. They couldn't get it to function like it functioned on IDEN, was the problem.
Yeah, it sucks when the government comes out with new rules and you're a smaller player and you can't. A weird analogy is why there's all.
They were abusing almost their bandwidth allocation, from what Cadeas is saying.
Right.
I mean, if there's bleed over into a band that isn't yours, you're supposed to be preventing that.
But not only that, it was emergency services. It wasn't just like, hey, I'm affecting the T-Mobile customers. It was bleeding over into emergency services
Yeah, that's a
stuff.
problem.
So that's a big deal. So that's why they had to step in and say,
It's
okay,
very similar. This is a weird analogy. Alan will laugh at me, but it's very similar to why in rural areas you see all these old abandoned little independent gas stations because they changed the rules and they were prone to leak and stuff and the whatever government agency said you have to upgrade to these new tanks. They couldn't afford it. And that's why every town has 3 or 4 little tiny gas stations that just went out of business because they couldn't afford to buy new tanks.
kind of the same thing. And so Sprint was looking at the customer base. They were all business customers, and then they were also looking at the loyalty of the customers, and then just the number of customers that was going to increase their market share, whole 9 yards. They just did it. They just did it all wrong. They did it all wrong. They should have prepped before they did the merger and all that. So
A rare Sprint strategic fail.
yeah, costed them the company pretty much, costed them their position and everything. So
Okay, so there we have that. AT&T relaunches Cricket as nationwide brand with new smartphone plans and LTE. I think it's $35 for half a gig, and then for $10 more you can get 2.5 gigs of data. And I guess you're buying the phone outright. So if you wanted to get an iPhone, it'd be $550 for the C, $650 for the 5S. And there's some Android phones and the Nokia, the popular Windows Nokia phone. I say popular, in other words, like among Windows phones, it's popular. But you're paying outright for the phone, the full price, and all but the iPhones get a $50 rebate. If this is the actual AT&T network, it's quite a good deal, isn't it? But I don't have any experience with Cricket.
Cricket, I had to finally kick my mother off Cricket. So Cricket was, I believe it was CDMA. It was it was
Sprint. It was a Sprint reseller.
yeah, that's what I thought. Yeah, it was a CDMA. So basically, sounds like what AT&T is doing is that they are offering these new devices and encouraging them to kind of hop to GSM. So another one of these buy the company market share kind of thing.
Is
it's
GSM just different or better?
better and different. Well, it depends on what you're looking for because CDMA does a lot better in the CDMA does a lot better in the mountains and in the hills. When there are hills and stuff, CDMA is going to perform better. GSM is better over a level playing. So it's like, for example, when I was in Kansas City, all the GSM providers was just blanketed the area. There's no such thing as no service in those kind of areas. Here in California,
that's why they're Sprint here probably because I'm in the Shenandoah Valley and there's mountains and Skyline Drive and
so it performs a lot better when it's over. Yeah, when it's a lot of hills and so that's why.
Black bears, wild turkey, and Sprint towers that suck. All right, anybody had one of these low-cost carriers? I know Nate used T-Mobile and just swore by them. Of course, in his area they had towers. They have no towers here, but he loves them. And
I used to use Virgin Mobile. I switched to T-Mobile. I love T-Mobile. T-Mobile prepaid does an awesome job for me, and the price is right.
Yeah, I think it's all about where you live and who owns the towers.
And I can walk it. And I can walk in with my own phone. I don't need to buy their phone.
Well, luckily that's different now. No, you don't have to do that anymore with non-CDMA carriers. You don't have to do that anymore in America. You can
I
walk
can't get some of these things and use them for Sprint, like the HTC One, the Play Edition that they sold, and some other things. I don't, or at least maybe the Google Nexus. One of them it wouldn't work. I was like all excited, and it won't work on Sprint.
Cadeas, it's not even that easy. I mean, Virgin Mobile, for example, even though they're using Sprint's network, wouldn't let you bring a Sprint phone in. You
gotta flash those. Yeah, CDMA is a lot harder because you got to flash those, and it's not. Yeah, it's not worth the dance. Definitely got to go GSM. That's why the rest of the world uses GSM, and you only got 2 CDMA carriers on the whole planet that are relevant. That's why.
Okay. Pam is strangely quiet tonight. All right. So next.
We're lucky Pam is awake, I think, from all of our exciting topics so far.
Indeed. All right. So next up, I'm going to screen share my left screen here because this is kind of a wacky topic. A patent. Google patents a laptop with a built-in smartphone, and the reason it's on the show. The second part of that headline, let the Chromebook and Android speculation begin. So here's the figure from the patent. What are they up to here, guys? I'll mumble on while they read the article.
I have absolutely no idea because it makes it sound like laptops haven't had cell phones built into them before.
Have they?
This is another play like if you remember the Moto. Oh, why can't I talk tonight?
Now this is a built-in detachable cell phone.
Right. So this is like the Atrix. This is where you can start using something on your phone and then decide to, hey, I want to use it on a big screen with the keyboard, and you click it in. This is like the original Atrix 4G with the lap dock is what it was called. And so you can click it in, and then now you have a full-blown screen with a browser. I remember Motorola was pushing that it had the first dual-core processor phone, so then that way you could be doing little apps here and then doing big stuff on the big laptop and the whole 9 yards. So that's kind of what this is. It's just it looks like it's just more of a looks like it's just more letting you be able to use Android in a laptop type fashion. Nothing new. This is not anything that we haven't seen before.
Okay.
I think there's one called maybe the phone pad or something like that. Asus phone pad or something that's supposed to come out in the next month or so, and doing the same thing except it does it with the tablet. So this is just another way to blow up your little Android screen.
I don't know how to bring this comment in. But Wendell says Sprint should have left Nextel alone, and if they buy T-Mobile, they'll screw it up. I'm all for having competitive small players in the market. The small guys are the innovators in the industry. They have that is true. We've seen like the big guys react to Sprint's pricing. We've even seen Sprint react to T-Mobile's pricing. They have to innovate to compete. Sprint needs to do something, but buying other companies is not one of them. They fail with Nextel. Not sure if they'll do any better with T-Mobile. Might be good for Sprint. May not be good for T-Mobile.
But you got to keep in mind that it's at this point it's not Sprint, it's SoftBank. Sprint is just now a subsidiary of SoftBank, so they're the ones making the overall decisions. They're the ones going around the planet buying up the carriers. So that's kind of what you got to look at. Sprint's done in that sense. It's no longer Sprint. It's just a brand now.
And Wendell says I use Straight Talk, AT&T compatible SIM, and bought my own device, Nexus 5. Price is great, coverage is great. Okay. There you go.
Where are you getting these comments? Are they coming in from the event? Because I don't see Wendell at all.
They're on the event.
Okay, that's why I don't see him here. Okay.
Yeah, but you could put the hashtag.
That's only in the yellow comment tracker. So let's just move on.
Next up, this is a cluster something. Okay, so we all heard this news that Heathrow is changing the name of their Terminal 5 to the Samsung Galaxy.
I hope we all heard the news because we covered it here last week.
Well, now it turns out that it's BS, that they're not renaming the terminal. They're just buying ads, like billboards or posters or whatever they do, and that Samsung's overzealous, humorous, maybe not so funny in retrospect, ad campaign said that they were renaming it, and Heathrow's corrected that to say, no, we're not renaming anything. So I just wanted to point that out since we discussed this. Nobody cares about that story. Okay, so next to this story is actually two different stories, but one topic here. We learned that Apple and Motorola have apparently dropped all lawsuits against each other. I'm here that they're want to work on patent reform, and Samsung is rumored to be the next settlement target. So I'm thinking that this is definitely attributable to the shift from Steve Jobs to Tim Cook. And obviously, all of us would be happy if we didn't have to spend more for stuff because they're suing each other left and right. On the other hand, the companies make money from leasing patent rights, and so that lowers costs as well. So I don't know how you can, you can look at it either way. Any thoughts on this? I
think
would
the
look
most
forward to
interesting
not having to
aspect.
cover these stories.
I think the most interesting aspect of this is that although the two of them have agreed to drop pending lawsuits against each other, it does not include a cross-licensing agreement.
The Motorola case, we don't know yet about Samsung, but yeah,
I find it really hard to believe that Google and that Apple and Samsung would try to do any cross-licensing, considering that the last court case overwhelmingly was in Apple's favor on that one.
would you guess that although the second thing that's going on now, the awards are vastly diminished, do you think that finally common sense prevailed? Somebody called somebody and said, look, we're clearly stealing on this one. On this one, it's iffy. So why don't we come up with a fair amount for this one, and we'll do it quietly, and we'll just drop everything, and we'll stop all this crap.
I think something like that happened. And I think also my guess is that at least some of what happened is that a couple of the engineers, a couple of the top people in each company were talking to each other and said, you know, your patent for this is just bogus. And the other one said, yeah, that may be true, but your patent for this other thing is totally bogus too. And in realizing just how bogus they were and how much they were forking over to the lawyers to defend these bogus activities, they said, why don't we actually try to fix the problem? We'll see if they really fix the problem. I'm not optimistic.
I think that one of the things about this was that they would work together for patent reform, but I don't know what that means. Two giant companies, you know.
It means that two companies are going to send their lobbying firms in D.C. to give the same message.
Okay. Any other thoughts on this? Okay. I'm curious, Pam. You're there? Do you have this kind of stuff? You're in biotech. Do similar things happen in your industry with these big
licensing agreements?
Are people suing each other because they're claiming that this method of opening a pill bottle, or this safety law, or whatever it is? I'm not sure exactly biotech what the hell that is, but is this just prominent in this industry because this is the one that we're looking at, or is this the big companies try to screw each other by suing over this stuff in other industries?
Oh no, absolutely. The patent infringement is big business in biotech and pharmaceutical companies as well. Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. So is corporate espionage and all kinds of stuff. Absolutely.
And the lawyers laugh at the bank.
Yep, lawyers are the only ones that make any money off of any of that.
Because these are like not contingency things. These guys make money win or lose.
Correct.
Okay. All right, so this is kind of interesting. Apple sued over vanishing texts after iPhones swapped out. Apparently
Hey man, sue them.
I remember Craig Shipp was talking on Friday's show. I think Sheila Dubois said that she was considering switching from an iPhone to Android, and Craig, of course, advised her strongly that she was insane to do that. But he said that one of the big things is that she uses iMessenger. I'm not sure if that's related to this, and that she might have a real problem.
It is.
But what is
I
this?
said that, Dan.
Okay, so here's the problem.
Okay.
So here's the problem.
Explain what the deal is, and if is this bogus or not? I mean,
it's not bogus.
I think they're moving this to be class action.
Apple deserves to be sued, and they need to pay out for it. They need to pay out heavily for it. What this does is, basically, when you have texting on your, when you have texting on an iPhone and you sign up, you get everything up and rolling. They don't actually, first off, they don't even give you a message or any kind of notification telling you that you're going to be using another type of texting service. So you just all of a sudden you're using another type of texting service, and the only way you can tell the difference is color. So some show up as blue, some show up as green. Green is running through your carrier, but the blue messages, your iMessages, are actually running through Apple servers, basically. And so it automatically, I like to use the word hijacks your text messages, and so any other Apple users that you're texting is going to It's automatically going to text it, send the message through Apple servers and not your carrier.
So it's similar to the way Google Voice works on a Sprint phone, where
nothing like that. Nothing like that. Literally, it's the same texting program. You hit the same button, and I know they chose that for simplicity. You hit the same button, it takes you to the same text message. Unless you understand the colors, you really don't know the difference. You just think, hey, my grandmother who uses Android is green, but all my friends are blue. Or my grandmother
still count as a text. In other words, like
it doesn't count as a text either. If it's running through Apple servers, it's going through your data connection. So theoretically,
it's the same as the new Hangout app on iPhone on Android.
So BlackBerry Messenger would be a good analogy for this.
Okay, imagine BlackBerry Messenger. However, you don't know you're using BlackBerry Messenger because it's in the same program as your text, which is okay. I understand they did that for simplicity, but this is where the problem runs into. I mean, you don't necessarily have to explain that to the end user. The end user just wants things to work. So now you've had your iPhone 3 or 4 years. Okay, great. Then you decide, I'm sick of Apple. They're not innovating. They're on a downward spiral. Let me go try something else for a while. I will go and pick up an Android. Well, you go and get your Android, you switch services. Your phone number is not unregistered from Apple servers, and so you end up with a working phone with people and you text them. They receive a green message from you, but normally your messages are blue to them, and when they text you back, the message is delivered via blue, which is the server of Apple. So because of that, you don't have an iPhone, so you never receive their incoming messages. They don't know why you're not responding, so it creates battles. It creates, hey, if it's a husband and wife, where you been at? I've been texting you all day. Who you with? What's going on? If it's a company, hey, I text you to have this turned in on such and such time. Like, it creates scenarios. And then there's no way to fix it. If you go to your carrier store, obviously they didn't do nothing. So now
is this a case where their service is better than traditional SMS? Obviously, if it bypasses the fees,
their service is traditionally better, but it's the same concept as using WhatsApp or BlackBerry Messenger or Hangouts as opposed to texting. The only thing is that they don't give you a way out, because you go to your carrier and you say, hey, my texting isn't working. They test everything. They say everything's working great. We don't know what your problem is. And then somebody finally realizes, oh, it's an iMessage problem. So then you're directed to go to Apple, and they have no way to kick you out of the system, whether it's the Genius Bar, whether it's the 800 number. Actually, BGR did a story about this today, saying it's taken people 3 to 4 months to get totally removed out of the system because they're waiting on Apple's computers to kick you out for not signing in for so long. So you're stuck in upwards of 3 to 4 months trying to not being able to receive text messages from Apple users. Everybody else works. Android, flip phones, everybody else is great, but Apple users, you're not getting their messages. They're sending you messages. It's even saying delivered because it did make it to Apple server, so it's telling the person who sent you the message that it's delivered, but you're not actually receiving it because you're not on the server.
They could fix this by making a non-proprietary iMessage app.
No, it's easy. A weekend of one individual coding could fix this problem. All they need to do is add an unregistered option for your phone number somewhere. That's it.
You'd still lose your history, though. So if you use like WhatsApp or Google Voice, although we don't know what's going to happen with Google Voice, apparently it's going to get incorporated in Hangouts.
But your history's you're gonna lose your history regardless. You're gonna lose your history if you're switching phones. If you're switching phones, you're gonna lose your history. Even if you're a WhatsApp user on iOS and you switch to Android, you lose your history.
Now with Google Voice, you do on the phone.
Right, but Google Voice is all in the server. The Google Voice has nothing to do with this setup at all. This setup literally has nothing to do with it at all. So basically, people are screwed, and so I guess it's affected a company, and they're suing. And this actually should go to class action lawsuit. Actually, it should be a lot of people joining this against Apple, because literally a weekend of coding from one individual could fix this. So a team of people could knock this out in less than 3 hours.
Are they incompetent, or they're deliberately trying to deter?
I think they're deliberately trying to do it.
But this is stupid, because no one is gonna not switch to an Android phone over this issue, right?
Right, but here's the thing. As a one individual, you've had an iPhone that just works for the last year, 2, 3 years, and then you go and you try out a new phone and the texting doesn't work. Skip it. Let me go back to my iPhone where everything just works. So I mean, yeah, this is an issue. This is good for them because it makes them look good. It makes Android look bad. But now it's affected so many people that now people are now starting to sue. Like this is coming up more and more because more and more people are leaving the iPhone, regardless of how Apple tries to paint it out. It's not, but more and more people are actually leaving the iPhone. This has been an issue for about 3 years. The whole time iMessage has been out, but now the people are leaving in droves from the iPhone, and so now it's starting to show. And now you got companies who are moving people over, and now they can't even communicate with each other. So
Google's motto is do no evil, and Apple's is the other thing. Okay. Alan, any thoughts?
Alan was laughing. What's your thought, Alan?
No, I think Kadea has summarized everything fairly well.
Okay.
Wendell's. I actually got a Wendell comment here. Yeah, he said it's been like this for more than a year. Wendell says that Apple and iMessage has had this problem of non-delivery of SMS for more than a year, and nobody's done anything about it.
Actually, the really interesting thing is that, at least from some reports, Apple can't figure out why it isn't working.
No, they know. This is common sense.
I said from some reports.
Right. I mean, that's probably what like the genius people are saying. Like they don't understand why it's not working. But it's very clear what's happening.
Okay, so I'm looking here at my comments. It says Wendell and Captain Euro replied to Captain Euro's comment on your video, but I can't read the whole comment. So Wendell said, doesn't always work. That's the real problem. Also, Apple doesn't even officially, and it's cut off. Captain Euro, just deactivate iMessage, issue solved, and then he has a support link.
That actually doesn't work. I've tried to help somebody with that today. It doesn't quite, if it does deactivate, you have to go to all of your other users, and BGR wrote a report on this today. You have to go to everyone that's trying to text you and tell them to delete your conversation and start fresh. So for somebody whose conversation is stuck sending you iMessage, even though you fully deactivate it, on the phone side, it's not actually deactivating for the people texting you. So if you got 900 people texting you at one time, you got to go to those 900 people and say, hey, I know you got an iPhone. You need to delete our conversation and start over. And maybe maybe they don't want to clear the history.
That's absurd. That's absurd.
Yeah, that's absurd. I mean, and the problem isn't that there's nothing you can really do about it. It's the fact that everyone trying to message you can no longer find you, but they don't know that they can no longer find you.
That's it's saying delivered on their side.
There. Anyway, so we're going to take the opportunity that Dan's walked away from the desk to move on to the next subject.
Excellent. And that is, oh, this is interesting. Google Play Store is under fire for the freemium app model. Could face a €5 million in fines in Italy. This is, the allegation is that, and it is time consuming. Sometimes you look at an app that says free, and then you read the fine print, and it may or may not say that, you know, it's not fully functional free, but I think in this day and age, I think people realize if it's a really cool app, there's a good chance that you can, you know, buy something through it. But as app developers, I wanted to get your take on this, Kadeus and Alan. Is it misleading? Is this a question of not adequately disclosing that there are payments in the description? Or, I mean, options to upgrade, to buy a new level or for your character, or
I think this is they're targeting the wrong people, and they shouldn't be targeting Google Play, but the individual developers. Google didn't do anything in this scenario. The developer is the one that sets the price, and the developer is the one that sets the in-app purchases. So I say that they're targeting the wrong people again.
Yeah, but if you were going to sue somebody, who would you sue? Would you sue one of the richest companies in the world that has deep pockets and?
If you were Europe and you hated Google, what would you do?
Sue Google. What do you think, Alan? Is it misleading? I mean, this is some crazy European.
I think some of them are misleading. I mean, I think some of the apps that advertise themselves as free, not just not just have no price or a free price attached to it, but advertise in the title that they're free and advertise in all of the information that they're free, those do kind of, make it not clear that there's a cost involved for certain things. That said, if they just offered the app for nothing and didn't, try to scream at you, hey, we're free, I think they would be on a lot more stable ground.
Now, if you want to, let's throw an analogy to my newspapers. Let's say that let's say I ran ad or allowed people to buy ads in my newspaper for prostitutes. They could sue each of the prostitutes and the pimps or whatever, or they could sue me and just make me stop accepting those ads, and that would be a lot more efficient.
Here's
Now,
a better
is it
analogy.
like that?
Here's a better analogy for you. You have.
Well, for SEO, we talk about prostitutes, and we could
Oh God. Okay.
bump our
Here's a
numbers.
better analogy for you, Dan.
Okay.
This is like suing Walmart because there is
pink slime in my beef.
Yeah, exactly. The Walmart had nothing to do with that. They just took your overall package and put it on the shelf.
No. Here's the analogy. Okay, the analogy is that Walmart lets you walk into their stores for free. Okay, you're allowed to pick up their brochures for free, but the nerve of them to actually charge you for trying to walk out with something from on their shelves. You can take stuff off their shelves for free, even, but you can't walk out of the store without paying for something. Okay? Under the Italian argument, that shouldn't be allowed. You should need to be charged to walk into the store. That's the equivalent. And I think all of us can agree that that is absolutely absurd.
Of course it is.
So, next subject. Next on the agenda is, as it's covered up, speaking of the Play Store, that Google is apparently quietly implementing automated refunds, even for people who are past the 15-minute limit when it comes to having refunds given to them if they ask for it. What is this all about, Cadeas?
Well, it sounds like Google's allowing them to.
Okay, I read the article, so I'll
what is this all about, Dan?
All right, what they said was before you had a 15-minute window where you could say I want to I don't like this sucks, I want my money back, and you could just get your money back. And now they have apparently after 15 minutes, then the developer would make the decision, whoever's selling the app, to approve it, the refund. And apparently Google has extended that 15-minute window. I'm not sure how big it is, but now if it's after 15 minutes, I mean, I don't think like 3 weeks later, but like maybe a couple hours later, I'm not sure what the timeline is, you can just request it, and you'll get back, you've gotten your refund. So, and I have another question for you guys on the previous topic when we're done with this. So as developers, if it's a 24-hour window, theoretically you could play a game out, right? If it's like a 99-cent game.
Well, personally, I've always thought that the 15-minute window was too short, and so I've always I don't know if it should be an hour. I don't know if it should be 2 days. But I always thought 15 minutes was way too short for somebody to actually. Honestly, it depends on what you're downloading. Depends on what you're downloading.
If you're downloading a movie, there should not be a 2-hour window to.
Right. Obviously, it kind of depends on what you're downloading. So I don't think they can do a blanket refund time. I think that's not because some things requires a little more usage before you decide whether you want to keep it. That's like going to buy a TV and then you only have a 2-hour return policy.
Yeah, I don't like this. In retrospect, I don't like this prom dress that I bought 3 days ago before last night's prom. I'm gonna return it.
Exactly. So it's based on certain what you're downloading. So
I'm not sure what the thing is. But
that's the thing. They don't say, and they don't say they're just letting you do it past 15 minutes. Looks like.
And they're obviously not going to do something that would be grossly unfair and enrage their developers because they make their money.
I don't know, because this is really unclear what's going on from reading the story. It's not just that refunds are allowed after 15 minutes. It's that they're automatically happening after 15 minutes, up till about 48 hours, which is very different than the way it used to be handled. And that once the refund is granted even, you still have access to the app or to what you purchased. So I don't know what's going on here. Something's strange, and this article is not clarifying anything.
that could be a bug because you could just apply for a refund for every purchase and have all your
Well,
apps free. I mean, kids
right.
would in that
They're
system.
they're saying it was originally noticed because somebody thought it was a bug, but they've since confirmed that this is policy. But it doesn't make any sense that it's policy.
So I can buy every app in the App Store, and just within a couple days, return them all and still have them all.
That's what they're implying. It doesn't make any sense.
I'm going to buy the entire Final Fantasy franchise.
Test that and let us know how it goes, Dan.
Um,
Next story.
Question on the previous thing, the freemium model is how. My concern would be obviously it's efficient for them to go after Google because there's one party that could implement a policy change, but wouldn't that cause a huge expense for Google to try to review? I mean, are they supposed to play every game out to its ending to see if there's any in-app purchases that they've hidden?
No, because in order for you to install in-app purchases at all, you need to set a permission. You need to set something in the manifest. So it's not like you automatically get in-app purchases. You need to say, I have in-app purchases, and Google knows that you have in-app purchases, and you're doing the in-app purchases through Google Wallet, which we covered earlier. So Google knows.
So it's not like having interns have to watch every YouTube video, I mean, which would be absurd because they couldn't give that service away for free. Okay.
Right.
Okay. So we're all excited about Final Fantasy.
Next subject.
Okay, this is just for Alan, special topic. I thought we'd end with the fun topic. Dong Nguyen is fed up with
Win. It's his last name. Win.
Win?
Win.
Because there was an Asian kid when I was in high school, and he pronounced it Nguyen. Maybe he just did that because
just
he Americanized it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's Win.
It's Win.
Okay, so Dong Nguyen is fed up with the Flappy Bird talk, so he's making a new game. Apparently, Flappy Bird was the #1 game, I think, in the iTunes or the whatever the hell Apple has, the App Store, and also in the Play Store. And there are rumors that he was making $50 grand a day from this game, from ads, and he had a sort of a meltdown, and said it was too addictive, so he pulled it from the Play Store. But anybody who had it still works, and there's a number of probably thousands of clones that are quite close to the original. And Alan gave a positive, yet scathing, yet humorous review, and it's hard to do all three of those things.
What was my review? I don't remember. All I remember saying is that it sucks.
But you said it's not bad. I said, how ghetto? You said, well, it's not really that bad. It was addicting. I played it for like 10 minutes.
Well, okay. It wasn't addictive for me. I played it 5 times and said, this is boring.
Okay. So he's making a new game. His games are, retro.
Oh, I remember what I said. I said that it has a very clever game mechanic. That it's very simple, that it's easy to learn and easy to play. That it's boring.
Yeah, a 5-year-old could easily pick this up.
And put it down again.
It is so simple, but so difficult. I mean, you would die in the first 10 seconds, on your 50th attempt. I mean, it was crazy. It's not like Pac-Man where you got a chance. So, anything else? And let's see if there's any comments. Y'all check your.
Oh, not on my end. But I don't want to get started on events.
Wendell says Apple knows exactly what's wrong, but doesn't want to acknowledge that people are. And I can't read the rest of it.
Leaving is the last word. Leaving.
Leaving.
We already addressed that one. Remember?
Oh, did you? Okay. All right. So, thank you all for watching our Hangout on Air, and tell me if you like the HOA. I'm just curious. Do you like the YouTube Live version or this version better? If you have an opinion and why, would be great. Because I wanted to experiment with plus post ads, try to get more live viewers so we can get more comments and stuff. Although I'm risking trolls, and also I just wanted to test it so we could talk about it in Google Plus Week. So again, I apologize for so many event being created, but
What's this Google Plus Week you're talking about, Dan?
funny you should ask. On Friday at 8:30 p.m. Eastern, 5:30 p.m. Pacific, we have Google Plus Week, which is a show where we talk about tech news, specifically in the beginning about Google and Google Plus stuff, and then we talk about general tech news, and then we talk about, whatever. We might talk about the crazy rancher and his cows or whatever.
Yeah, that's really selling the show, Dan.
And Alan yells at me even more fiercely and more often in that program than he does in this show. So if, for no other reason, it's worth that. We should start time coding the Alan rants and yelling at Dan moments. But anyway, thank you all very much. We appreciate you tuning in tonight to our program, Our Android Week, which is every Monday night at 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Pacific on Google Plus and YouTube Live. So to all of you, thanks for watching, and I'll try to do the correct sign-off this week. Have a wonderful Android week.